Well, as John Terrett mentioned earlier, Apple's shares touched an all-time high during trading on Monday. All investor eyes were on the company ahead of a planned announcement at its annual Worldwide Developers Conference. Stocks gained nearly 2% in morning trading, hitting over $180 a share. That is a record high for the first time in 17 months. It couldn't maintain that record, though, through the day, but shares of the tech giant are up nearly 50% so far in 2023, and its market capitalization sits at nearly $3 trillion. So we've built the suspense long enough. Let's find out what that big announcement was. CGTN's Mark New has more from the Worldwide Developers Conference.
At Apple's Worldwide Developer Conference, CEO Tim Cook pulled out the famous line from the late Apple founder Steve Jobs.
But we do have one more thing.
He announced Apple's launch into the world of augmented reality.
Today, I'm excited to announce an entirely new AR platform with a revolutionary new product. And here it is.
It's called Apple Vision Pro, part of a category the company calls spatial computing. The headset is a mixed reality device where images are overlaid while the user maintains vision in the real world.
We set the ambitious goal to design an incredibly intuitive input model for spatial computing, one that could be used without controllers or additional hardware. Apple Vision Pro relies solely on your eyes, hands, and voice.
Icons respond to where one's eyes look. Gestures allow users to select and scroll.
Competitors have launched spectacles and headsets in the virtual reality and augmented reality space well before Apple, such as Google Glass, Meta Quest, as well as products from hundreds of companies. But when Apple moves into a space, it does so with full force, often devouring the competition.
One of those competitors is Chinese company XReal, which first launched its AR glasses in 2020. Co-founder Peng Jin says he actually welcomes Apple's entry into the extended reality space.
Hundreds of millions of people starting to pay attention to what's happening in the AR space. So, from that perspective, I think it's super helpful.
It's kind of a huge proof point that, the biggest tech company in the world, the most successful, is also jumping into the XR space. I think that's a signal for a lot of people and a lot of the skeptics in the media that were starting to say, the metaverse is dead.
Known for superlatives at their events, Apple called the product the most advanced personal electronics device ever, noting that it filed more than 5,000 patents to create the device. That's being used to justify its premium price of $3,500. At the event, Apple also introduced a new 15-inch Mac Air laptop, as well as its latest Mac operating system called Sonoma. Mark New, CGTN, San Francisco.
And Global Business will continue after this quick break. Stay with us. We want to continue our segment on Apple, and we want to bring in tech commentator James Sung. James, welcome to the show.
Thanks so much for having me.
Well, James, first of all, I want your reaction to this announcement. What are some of the highlights that were out today, and what are some of the surprises that you saw coming out?
Yeah, well, Apple surprisingly has been very quiet about this whole metaverse thing, and it hasn't answered much of Meta's hardware devices. As you know, Apple is a hardware-first company, whereas Facebook and Meta are, we're working primarily on software. So it's very obvious that Apple would be making a better product here. We've waited quite a long time for Meta to launch their Meta headsets, their virtual reality headsets. But now, now that the virtual reality headsets launched, everyone spent their 5 minutes in the virtual reality headsets, and they realized that they can only spend 5 minutes or 10 minutes in there. And really, what the missing ingredient is to have AR, augmented reality headsets, and this is really going to bring us into the next generation. So maybe 10 years later, we're going to look back and see this today as really a tipping point to the future, to XR, to mixed reality, because Apple's device is so special right now. It's combining all their expertise from the previous years of making the iPhone, of making the iPad. They've generated so many users before, and so many developers. So today was the developer conference, and developer conference is key because making a hardware device is one thing, but to have developers creating thousands of applications for it is what's important. And
James,
what they have today.
Sorry, James, if I could cut in really quick. Other companies, as Mark mentioned, have developed these kinds of AI products before. So the big question is why Apple is doing this now, and what makes this particular product and these products special compared to some of these competitors?
As we know, Apple has recently introduced spatial audio, and spatial audio gives you really immersive sound experience. Apple is also known for FaceTime, but actually, what they've done with the new Apple Vision Pro is they've actually made a sort of like body time, because not only can you see the face, you can actually see like virtual movements of the hands, like in sort of like a virtual reality, mixed reality sort of space. They've created really amazing hardware. This is meant to be something that is going to bring us into a new sort of reality. And this hardware device has the newest hardware, the newest chipsets, and it's bringing us to what's known as the spatial computing era. So not only do we have spatial audio now, we have spatial computing, which is a brand new term now.
James, what does this move say about Apple's plans and its vision going forward? Is it going to start focusing on these AI technological products rather than some of the other technology they've kind of focused on before?
Yeah, what I really admire about Apple is that they take their time with things. They're not so much for experimenting on consumers. They want to make sure they have a perfect product, which is what we see now with the Apple Car. Their iPhones are quite nice, and with the Apple Vision Pro, what we can see is that they're also limiting it to 150,000 units for their first run, which is also partly a response to the semiconductor shortage right now. But this is a product that is not going to be launched until next year, and not for less than $3,499. Now we see with Facebook's Meta Quest Pro, they launched at $1,499 not too long ago, and they're already discounting to $999. So they're having a little problem with the traction there.
Still too rich for my blood, unfortunately. James Sung, tech commentator, thank you so much for joining our program today.